Today, we're going to talk about the top 10 smartest people in the world. A person takes the title of genius if their IQ exceeds 140, which belongs to 0.5% of the world population. Here are a few examples of the smartest. Number 10. Stephen Hawking. First off, at number 10, he's an astrophysicist with an IQ of 160. Stephen Hawking, despite being diagnosed with a motor neuron disease at an early age, continued to pursue his dreams. The strength and support given him by his then-wife, Jane Wilde, also helped him continue despite diversities.
Technology has a tremendous impact on each of us, and our desire for discovery. It speeds theoretical evidence. It frees people to think and to create. And it brings people together to solve big problems. Computational power is growing, and quantum computing is quickly being realized. Big data is providing new insights, with 90% of the world's data being generated in the last 2 years. What is our role as developers, technology leaders, and scientists at this pivotal time? We must engage in a public dialogue, particularly about the responsibilities of big data and artificial intelligence. I am pleased that Microsoft is actively engaging in these discussions to incorporate all points of view when addressing issues such as privacy, employment, equality, and humanity.
Number 9. Rick Rosner. American TV writer Rosner, IQ 192, has a checkered past, being employed in such positions as stripper and male model. He tried to sue the television show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire just because he answered a question incorrectly and lost the competition.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is the most lucrative TV show in the history of the world. They make well over $1 billion a year in just the US, and it's on in 40 or so different countries. You'd think they'd have enough money to know what they're doing.
Number 8. Garry Kasparov. Kasparov, IQ 190, former world chess champion, became famous for his abilities at a young age. In 1980, at the age of 17, he was considered a Grand Master of chess. 5 years later, he became the youngest world champion.
I was always very political by nature, and on the road to the World Championship, this led me into frequent conflicts with the authorities, since chess was considered an important tool to promote the intellectual superiority of the USSR over the decadent West. Needless to say, my frequent pro-Western statements did not gain me any favor at home. As a young man in the 80s, I looked to America as a symbol of the values and freedom I wanted for my own country. Today I live in New York City, and unfortunately I'm still fighting for freedom for my country, Russia.
Number 7. Paul Allen. The billionaire co-founder of Microsoft, IQ 170, convinced partner Bill Gates to leave Harvard to chase a mutual dream. Due to a diagnosis of Hodgkin's lymphoma, Allen stepped away from Microsoft and eventually resigned.
You're trying to do something that hasn't been done yet. You try to fill your brain with as much information as you can about the subject area, and then you start talking to experts. Like before we did the Brain Institute, I brought a bunch of scientists together and asked them what hadn't been done that should be being done. So there's kind of a go where they're not aspect. Some of these things, if there are government level problems, for example, you can't change that unless you change the amount of awareness of the issue. Because right now, I think some of the environmental issues have almost become forgotten or dismissed, or they're known, but nobody thinks they're really going to affect them in their lifetime. But in their grandchildren's lifetime, there's going to be big changes unless we find solutions. So you have to look at the set of problems and decide what's the point of crystallization where you can change in a larger way future outcomes, because otherwise we're on a very disastrous path.
Number 6. Judith Polgar. Hungarian chess player, IQ 170, was undoubtedly the best female chess player in the world. The reason for her high IQ may have had something to do with her father's experiments while raising her and her sisters. He said, "Geniuses are raised, not born." Number 5. Andrew Wiles. Award-winning mathematician, IQ 170, is best known for proving Fermat's last theorem in 1995, which was listed as the most difficult mathematical problem in the Guinness Book of World Records. Number 4. James Woods. Woods, IQ 180, was a famous actor who, before turning on the lights of Hollywood, studied algebra at UCLA and MIT. Number 3. Kim Eun-yong. Third on the list is the 50-year-old astrophysicist Eun-yong, IQ of 210. From the age of 2 years, he could speak 4 languages with ease, and at the age of 8, he was invited by NASA to study in the United States. Number 2. Christopher Hirata. In second place is the 30-year-old astrophysicist with an estimated IQ of 225. Among his accomplishments, he started working at NASA when he was 16 years old, participated in studies of colonization of the planet Mars, and received his PhD from Princeton University at age 22. Number 1. Terence Tao. An estimated IQ of 230 is held for 36-year-old mathematician Terence Tao, who was able to do simple math since the age of 2, got a doctorate from Princeton University when he was 20 years old, and became the youngest professor in the history of UCLA at the age of 24.
That's one of the biggest gains. Yeah, we also exploit a lot more averaging than Zhang did. There's a lot of parameters averaging that we just threw away. Which I also threw away here for simplicity, but if you save a lot of the averages, basically any average that doesn't affect the modulus, but it just affects whatever's inside the parentheses is something that you can exploit by these sort of exponential sum methods. What is difficult is trying to exploit cancellation when you vary the modulus, and we can't use automorphic methods for a variety of reasons. That's the only thing I know of that would do that.
Maybe you're just as smart as these guys, and maybe you're just keeping it low profile.